indifferent universe. He wasn't talking about diet or exercise anymore. He was talking about fate, about cosmic justice, or the perceived lack thereof. He was tapping into that deep-seated human feeling that sometimes the world just doesn't make sense. That fairness is a myth we tell ourselves. He didn't stop there. He elaborated on the nature of this cruelty. This universe, Colbert explained, is one where good, hardworking people are routinely diagnosed with terminal illnesses. Suddenly, the monologue wasn't just about Trump. It was about everyone else. It was about the quiet struggles, the unexpected tragedies, the sheer unfairness that strikes ordinary individuals who try to do everything right, who eat their vegetables, who exercise, who avoid the very lifestyle choices often associated with the president. He invoked the image of virtuous suffering, a stark contrast to the news of the president's glowing health. It was a gut punch wrapped in satire, resonated with anyone who ever felt the sting of life's arbitrary hardships. And then came the pivot back to the subject at hand, delivered with maximum comedic impact. This cruel universe populated by suffering apparently makes an exception for what Colbert described, in no uncertain terms, as an objectively evil monster. The gasp from the audience, followed by laughter, applause, told the story. Colbert wasn't pulling any punches. He was using the most extreme language, framing the president in starkly moral terms, amplifying the perceived injustice. And why does this monster thrive? According to Colbert's scathing translation, it's precisely because he only eats cheeseburgers and fried chicken. This wasn't just a dietary jab. It was symbolic. It represented, in Colbert's view, a rejection of conventional health wisdom, the flaunting of unhealthy habits, indulged in while good people suffer. The image is potent, a leader fueled by fast food, apparently sailing through life with robust health, while the disciplined and deserving face illness. It's a narrative of cosmic absurdity. Colbert then summed up this bleak worldview. A devastatingly simple declaration. The world is chaos. No rhyme, no reason, just random outcomes dictated by that cruel, indifferent universe. And the ultimate truth? The punchline that tied it all back to the doctor's peculiar report? There is no God, Colbert stated, delivering the line with perfect deadpan that amplified the shock value of the dark humor. And the evidence for this profound existential conclusion, and proven, he added with exquisite comedic timing, are his frequent victories in golf events. Boom! The circle was complete. The golf victories presented by the physician as a sign of vitality were flipped by Colbert into the ultimate symbol of cosmic unfairness, the final, absurd proof that the universe is chaotic and unjust. If this guy, with this lifestyle, is thriving and winning at golf, Colbert implied, then surely the rules of fairness, health, and perhaps even divine order simply don't apply. This wasn't just a comedian making fun of a politician's health report. This was Colbert using the report as a springboard to articulate a deep-seated frustration, a sense of existential angst that many people feel, regardless of their political stripes. The feeling that life isn't fair, virtue isn't always rewarded, and that sometimes those who seem to flout all the rules somehow come out on top. He crystallized the bewilderment some felt upon hearing the positive health news, contrasted with the president's known habits and polarizing persona. He labeled it the cruel truth hidden within the results. The hidden truth wasn't a medical secret. There was, in Colbert's comedic interpretation, an emotional and philosophical. The report inadvertently highlighted the randomness and perceived injustice of life itself. The laughter on his show wasn't just about the jokes. It was laughter of recognition, of shared frustration, perhaps even a cathartic release. Now, let's unpack this further. The reaction was immediate. Clips of the monologue went viral. News outlets picked up the story, focusing on Colbert's cruel and indifferent universe line and his description of Trump. Was it fair? Was it funny? Was it below the belt? The debate raged online and across pundit panels. Supporters of the president likely saw it as yet another example of mainstream media and Hollywood bias, an unfair and disrespectful attack bordering on conspiratorial thinking. They might argue that Colbert was twisting a positive health report into something negative simply because he dislikes the president. Okay, let's get this show on the road. Imagine the flashing graphics, the urgent sounding background music. Here is the script, ready for narration. Intro music with dramatic stings and fast-paced visuals, perhaps quick cuts of headlines. Stephen Colbert's face, Trump golfing, a doctor's coat, a cheeseburger. No, music fades slightly to allow narration. Narrate. Hello and welcome back. Tonight, we're diving deep into a story that exploded across the airwaves. A moment where the sharp wit of late-night comedy sliced right through the official narrative surrounding the President of the United States. We're talking about the physical. Exam results that were supposed to put minds at ease, but instead ignited a firestorm of commentary, spearheaded by none other than late-night titan Stephen Colbert. He didn't just read between the lines, folks. He ripped the page open and pointed to what he calls the cruel and undeniable truth hidden in plain sight. Fasten your seatbelts, because this is a wild ride through health reports, political satire, existential dread, all served up with a side of fast reality. It all started over the weekend. The official results of President Donald Trump's physical examination were released, and on the surface, they painted a picture of remarkable vitality. The physician, Navy Captain Sean Barbella, a neighbor, etched into the annals of this ongoing saga, delivered a verdict of many found, shall we say, surprisingly positive. The assessment wasn't just good, it leaned towards glowing. We heard descriptions hinting at robust health, a man defying the odds, perhaps even defying the well-documented presidential pressures, and a lifestyle often scrutinized under the public microscope. Captain Barbella specifically praised what he termed an active lifestyle. Now, hold that thought, an active lifestyle. What constitutes active for the leader of the free world? Well, according to the official medical statement, this included, and you really can't make this stuff up, frequent victories in golf events. Yes, you heard that correctly. Triumphs of the legs navigating bunkers and sinking putts were cited as contributing factors to the president's overall well-being. For supporters, this was perhaps validation, a testament to Trump's stamina, his competitive spirit translating to physical fitness. For critics, however, this specific mention raised more than a few eyebrows. Golf as a key indicator of presidential health. The memes practically wrote themselves, but the official word was out. The president was, according to his doctor, doing exceptionally well. The narrative seems set. Another hurdle clear, another round of health questions, seemingly answered with a positive spin. The news cycles reported it, perhaps with varying degrees of emphasis or skepticism, but the core message was one of presidential fitness. Then came Monday night. The lights dimmed, the band played, and onto the stage strode Stephen Colbert, host of The Late Show, a man who's made dissecting, satirizing, and often eviscerating the Trump presidency a cornerstone of his nightly monologue. The audience buzzed, anticipating his take. Would he mock the golf reference? Would he question the doctor's assessment? Would he find some new angle on this well-trodden ground? Colbert, with that familiar glint in his eye, didn't disappoint. But he went further than simple mockery. He acknowledged the results, the clean bill of health, but his tone wasn't celebratory. It was, as the initial report suggested, tinged with a unique brand of comedic disappointment, a sort of bewildered resignation. He looked out at his audience, his ears turning, ready to offer not just jokes, but what he presented as a profound, albeit darkly humorous translation of the medical function. He took Captain Barbella's carefully worded assessment, particularly the part about the president's well-being and his contributing factors like golf victories, and he didn't just twist it, he flipped it onto his head, exposing what he framed as a raw, uncomfortable nerve in the collective consciousness. This is where Colbert unleashed the commentary that sent shockwaves through the entertainment and political sphere. He offered his translation, and it was inducing. Again, his well-being, referring to Trump, is also due to, and here the comedic hammer dropped, revealing not a medical insight, but a philosophical lament disguised as a punchline. Due to a cruel, indifferent universe, Colbert declared, his voice dripping with mock seriousness that barely concealed a genuine sounding exasperation. Think about that phrase. A cruel indifference. saw Colbert's monologue as comedic genius, a brilliant articulation of own disbelief and frustration. They might see the cheeseburgers and fried chicken line not just as a joke, but as a symbol of a presidency they view as harmful or irresponsible. The cruel, indifferent universe might resonate deeply with those who fail the administration's policies negatively impact good, hardworking people. For them, Colbert wasn't just being funny, he was speaking truth to power, using satire as a weapon to expose perceived hypocrisy and injustice. And what about the truth Colbert claimed? Smart? Is there really a hidden truth in a medical report? Medically likely not. A physical exam reports clinical findings, but politically and culturally, that's where it gets interesting. Colbert tapped into the narrative of surrounding Trump. His diet, his golfing, his controversial statements, his seemingly Teflon ability to weather scandals. He contrasted this narrative with the narrative of the exam results. Robust health, active lifestyle. The clash between these two narratives created a space for Colbert's critique. He essentially argued that the results themselves, when viewed through the lens of Trump's public persona and lifestyle, become evidence of a world gone mad. A world where the usual rules of cause and effect, eat well, be healthy, act good, be rewarded, seem suspended. The golf victories become the cherry on top of the sundae of absurdity. This incident highlights the unique role late-night comedians play in the modern political landscape. They are not just entertainers, they are commentators, often shaping public perception and voicing sentiments that traditional news reporting might not capture. Colbert, like others, uses humor to process and critique political events, often reaching audiences who might not tune into conventional news analysis. His translation provided a powerful, albeit controversial, counter-narrative to official medical. It also speaks volumes about the public's fascination with presidential health, a topic that has always been pursued, perhaps never more so than in the hyper-polarized, endlessly documented era of Donald Trump. Every sniffle, every golf swing, every diet choice becomes fodder for speculation and commentary, feeding into larger narratives about fitness in office, authenticity, and yes, even cosmic justice, the sheer length Colbert went to, framing it not just as a health anomaly, but as evidence against the existence of a just God, demonstrates the level of incredulity and depth of the cultural divide. It transformed a routine physical update into a moment of existential commentary, wrapped in the biting satire that has become his trademark. He took a simple news item and inflated it into a grand statement about the very nature of reality as he, or perhaps many in his audience, perceive it. So what are we left with? A Navy captain's assessment of presidential well-being, citing golf wins as a contributing factor, and a late-night host's scathing, darkly hilarious interpretation, suggesting this very vitality in this specific individual is proof of a chaotic, godless, indifferent universe that punishes the good and rewards the bad. You heard it? It's just a joke taken too far, a brilliant piece of political satire, or a genuinely felt expression of frustration at a world that often feels profoundly unfair. Perhaps it was all one thing is certain. Stephen Colbert didn't just report the news, he injected himself and a whole lot of philosophical angst right into the heart of it, ensuring that a simple physical exam report became anything but simple. He found the cruel truth not in the medical data, but in the reaction it provoked within himself, and potentially within millions watching. It's a stark reminder that in today's world, even a doctor's note can become a battleground for ideology, satire, and the endless search for meaning in what sometimes feels like pure chaos. The conversation continues, the laughter echoes, and the questions linger long after the punchline has landed. That's our deep dive for tonight. Food for thought, wouldn't you say? Until next time, keep questioning, keep watching, and stay tuned for the stories everyone is really talking about. Good night.